how crypto guys think differently than you. And you might think, Parker, what does that even mean? And well, I'm going to break it down a little bit for you. Because crypto guys are quite a bit different than your average person. And, crypto guys, honestly, there's a spectrum of us, okay? There's complete degens, there's full-on investors, but, where we kind of meet is some of our views in why we've gotten into crypto. And so, guys, a lot of what crypto guys think is that the dollar is fucked. That's a way to break into this video, guys. Most of us are in agreement that it looks grim, okay? There is a lot of fucked up shit going on with mismanaging the dollar, inflation, money printing out of control, and either some of us went full degen to the point where, they're in the casino gambling and they're, flipping meme coins nonstop because they're like, what's the point? This extreme nihilism to where it's like, well, if I lose it all, it's fine anyways because it's worthless. And if I make a shit ton, then I've, changed my family. I think that's a side of the spectrum, the degen guys. And then we have our long-term investors, who I like to consider myself an investor in cryptocurrency. And, we think differently even than that. We also see it as an escape from the current system because the system's rigged. It's rigged to be against you. You're not supposed to win. You're supposed to own nothing. You're supposed to just be happy about it. You're supposed to be a good little slave. And I think crypto is the escape from all of that. It's the escape from the 9 to 5. It's the escape from all the hidden tax, the money printing, where they just steal money from you, and especially from the uneducated that don't know. Even, you think of some people that have just saved all their money and they put it under the mattress and that all that money has been stolen from them due to inflation. And they don't even understand. To the world around them, they think that houses are expensive, cars have gotten so expensive, everything is getting so expensive, eggs are so expensive. But truthfully, what's wrong is that the dollar has lost so much value. The dollar is just so much weaker and has less purchasing power because the Federal Reserve is printing money at exponential rates. And people seem not to understand that, which is probably a lack of education, both self-imposed and because it's never taught. Imagine if they taught that in schools. No way, because the Federal Reserve would never let that happen, guys. It's sad to see. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I knew these things forever because it's been the last couple of years I've been on this journey of learning, but you realize that, first off, you don't want to ever hold the dollar. So whether it's getting it into gold or into stocks as soon as possible or real estate, or if you're like me and you want to get it into crypto as fast as possible, that's what you do because you know that they're stealing from you with the dollar. Worst case, high yield savings account necessary just to combat inflation. Like you need to find a high yield savings account making you 3, 4, 5% just to try to fight against inflation. And so, that's really one of the biggest things that crypto guys believe in. It's just that inflation in the Federal Reserve is completely, fundamentally wrong and evil, and they're out to get you. And so Bitcoin is an escape because it's finite and it's decentralized, so no one can control it. There's a limited supply, 21 million Bitcoin, so it can't be inflated like they can just print infinite dollars. It's crazy. And it makes me think of that movie, Den of Thieves, right? Because what did they do? They stole the money that was, so basically how the movie goes is that these guys pull off a heist. And the way they stole money from, I don't know if it was the Federal Reserve or the big bank or whatever, but the way they actually stole the money went undetected is because they stole the money that was going to be incinerated because it was like poorly printed money, right? Because the Fed can just print new money. They're like, these bills basically suck ass. We're going to print new bills. So they stole millions, and because they were supposed to be incinerated anyways, they didn't even know they were missing. That's a terrible summary of a movie I saw like 2 or 3 years ago, but essentially, the government, if anything goes wrong, they'll just print more money, and that's the whole point. They just print more money. Whereas Bitcoin, they can't just make more Bitcoin. You have to buy Bitcoin. It's a digital asset. And so Crypto guys just think differently because you see Bitcoin as this risky gamble. You see Bitcoin as, it's just overhyped, it's a bubble, it's gonna pop. But crypto guys think the dollar is fundamentally trash and that Bitcoin is the escape to a new system. And Bitcoin's not trying to be the dollar. I mean, to be honest, it's not. It's not trying to be in everyday payments. It is fundamentally a store of value these days, and that's how it's treated. It is a preservation of wealth, and that's because of the fact that your dollar is being inflated. And that's just the truth. So it's not even that always Bitcoin is going up so much because of all the hype, everyone's buying it, but it's the fact that it is worth more dollars because the dollars are worth less. And that is how you get appreciation amongst the board, whether it's housing or cars or Bitcoin or whatever. Like, also supply and demand play a factor, yes, but it's also because your dollar is just getting weaker against these assets over time. And that's where, as an American, we say, oh, inflation's so bad, buy Bitcoin to avoid it. But there's other countries where inflation is literally so much, like 100 times faster and worse, where it's like the streets are littered with their currency because it's so unvaluable that it's just dumped everywhere because it's not worth anything. And so for those people, being able to convert their even worse off currencies, their even weaker currencies, into Bitcoin as fast as possible, they are sometimes saving themselves so much inflation per month, like our yearly inflation in like a week or a month. Like it can be so much worse in other countries. And so people in America here especially are very spoiled because, as much as we consider our inflation a problem here, it's not near as bad as it is in other parts of the world, which a lot of people don't understand. So I think that's pretty interesting where we're so privileged here that you don't realize why so many people actually do need Bitcoin. And then you can even make that multifaceted to the point where there's so much credit and stuff nowadays that people, they don't have money, but they can just buy the things that they want off credit, and they live this life of just basically being enslaved to the credit system. And because they have the things that they want, they don't realize that they could have had Bitcoin and escaped the system and lived a different side of that. And maybe I'm kind of all over the place here, guys, but people that are into crypto, and again, I'm sidestepping all the degen casino behavior, and I wanted to get into just the more fundamental investor behavior. Yes, there's speculation. Yes, we do all want to make, and we all have made, a shit ton of money. So let's not pretend that's not a thing. But it's not so much just because we want to make a shit ton of money, as much as it's a full circle realization that basically everything you've been told and you've been sold on is a lie, like from the beginning. And maybe I can make another video on that because, just from the beginning, you're told to go to school and to take out debt for that and da-da-da-da-da, and it just continues. And I think it's, honestly, for most people, a bad thing and a bad decision. It just makes you a slave for life. But guys, us that are in crypto, we truly do view the world through a different lens. Looking for a safety net, for a place to store our wealth and for it to grow over time, to be able to hand down to your family. Yeah, I think Bitcoin is just the answer to so many of those problems, between the money printing, between, like, we have Doge right now, right, guys, who's uncovering all this mismanagement of taxpayer dollars, which, first off, why are we paying taxes if we're just printing money? The taxes are all just an illusion. And then they're taking those taxes and they're funding the most random bullshit overseas, which we can pull up those headlines on your own time, but it's all just quite ridiculous. And I'm not saying that those taxes, some of them don't go to good places, because, some of those we do, but when you think about it and how much money is being printed, why do we even need to be taxed if they're printing so much money? So you're getting double taxed. It really is crazy to think about. But that's why most rich people, at least that I've come into contact with, when you have millions and millions of dollars, maybe even a couple $100 million, it's like you're just not holding a bunch in cash. You have it invested in assets, whether it's, stocks and maybe even bonds, or real estate, crypto. anything but just cash. And worst case for your cash, a high yield savings account. So, I mean, guys, that's a little bit about why we think differently than you guys, is because fundamentally, guys, that's a little bit about why crypto bros do think different than your average person, is because we know that the money's not real. And maybe that's weird to say, and you've never heard that before, but guys, your money is not real. It's all a fugazi. It's all a illusion. It's not even backed by gold anymore. It's just paper, guys. I mean, it is just paper. And that's what you start to figure out. And you go down this rabbit hole, and then you have to find out what the answer is. And for me personally, the answer turned into Bitcoin. And it doesn't mean you have to have 100% exposure to Bitcoin, but it's also the top performing asset. So it's crazy you wouldn't want so. But hey, I think if you're someone that's struggling with money and you feel hopeless, looking for a way out, maybe you quit looking for designer clothes and shoes and vehicles you can't afford and you shouldn't afford, and you should start buying Bitcoin. Because also, you get to this place where you start to build some wealth, you build an income, and you realize that all those things that you used to want and dream about that were all flashy, those are only impressive to the people that can't afford them. Because the people that can, they're either not impressive because it's just an everyday purchase, or they don't even want them or have them because they don't matter in the grand scheme of things. They're not an asset. And there's nothing wrong with spending your money. Like if you guys have a bunch of money, you want to have some nice things, all of course, live your life. But there's too many people that don't have the money, that are taking out debt to buy liabilities and a bunch of bullshit, and the system is just completely enslaving them, and I hate to see it. And so if I could have any message today, it's just that do some research on the actual dollar. Do some research on what's happening to the money supply and look for your escape. Maybe it's real estate or just stocks. You just want to beat the game. Or maybe you want to leave the game and buy Bitcoin. Or just you're playing the game at such a high level with Bitcoin that you're in your own bracket now. And their little money printing thing just doesn't really affect you anymore because you're killing it. And you have a fantastic store value that can't be printed into oblivion. So guys, if you do have any questions on today's video, drop a comment down below, give me a like and subscribe. And I'm more than happy to discuss this with you guys further, go over any topics you want to know. And really, I'm just here to hang out, and I want to help you guys. I mean, I was in the same boat where it's like, oh my God, this feels hopeless. Like, what can I do? And looking into Bitcoin, guys, is a fantastic answer to help build the life that you want. So, until the next video, guys.
Girls get loose when they hear the song. 100 on the dash, get me close to God. We don't pray for love, we just pray for cause.